Hello, my name is Lisa with the Dynamic Self Astrology, and I am here to give you an overview of the month of May 2024 and just give you an idea of what astrology we are going to be looking forward to and experiencing. I will say that April was quite an explosive month. I hope all of you are taking care of yourselves after all of the activation and the excitement and the intensity that we encountered last month. And I will say that this month is going to still have some of those themes still happening, but it's not going to be anywhere near as intense. So let's jump in. The month begins with Pluto stationing retrograde. This takes place on May 2nd at 2 degrees Aquarius, 6 minutes. If you have planets and or angles at the early degrees of fixed signs, and these are Leo or Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you will likely feel the station the most. When planets station in either direction, their archetypal statement is really palpable. Keywords for Pluto include change from within, upheaval, turnaround, transformation, obsession, overwhelm, empowerment. So you kind of get the feel there's a real intensity to Pluto. And Pluto is essentially stopped all month, and it really has been for the past month. And it will move only about 7 minutes by the end of the month. So with so much interaction from the faster planets to Pluto this month, and there is a notable amount, expect for the call towards metamorphosis to be resonant, especially in the first half of the month. With this retrograde cycle, Pluto will take its last and final dip into the sign of Capricorn until 2254. Whoa. So this is this time when Pluto retrogrades back into Capricorn for this final time. It's only going to reach 29 degrees Capricorn in 38 minutes. So it's like the very bitter end of Capricorn. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, and it's been a journey. Whatever Pluto's visit in Capricorn has brought up for you, you may find those topics gaining a sense of wisdom, of mastery, or at least a clearer perspective from the rearview mirror. Pluto will station direct on October 11th, 2024, and then we can officially say farewell to Pluto in Capricorn. On November 19th, 2024, Pluto will make a grand and long-lived entrance into Aquarius, and where it will be until March 8th, 2043. But we will discuss this entrance and that whole transition at greater length later this year. Collectively, I see Pluto's time in Capricorn as opening a door to the ancient cultures, their beliefs and rituals. With Pluto in Capricorn, we have had a strong resurgence of the ancient spiritual traditions, giving recognitions to the ancient shoulders that we stand upon. For example, the practice of shamanism from many lineages, and integrating the use of rites of passage, the surge of yoga, ancient forms of astrology, and just astrology in general, eating in more natural ways, closer to the earth, the overall need for ceremonial space, as well as a rising interest in connecting with the natural world through spirituality, have all skyrocketed into our universal consciousness over this time. This list covers only a small portion of what is actually happening, but these are areas that stand out to me at the moment. Capricorn is very concerned with the past, where we come from, and the traditions that need to be upheld. In a world where it can be argued that nothing is sacred anymore, Pluto in Capricorn has worked to address that gaping hole in our souls. We need tradition, ceremony, ritual, community, and this past 16 years has rapidly accelerated that connection for us. Of course, there are many, many ways that Pluto in Capricorn has manifested itself, but for me, this feels most relevant at the moment as this time comes to a close. I plan to spend these last days of Pluto in Capricorn, specifically September to October of this year, with a deep reverence for the wisdom and the grounded spiritual connection that we have collectively received. I'm sure that I will sink into this line of thought later on, so stay tuned. Okay, moving more into the actual astrology of what's happening on May 7th, we have the Taurus new moon, which is actually quite lovely. Yay. It takes place at 18 degrees Taurus, 2 minutes, and this lunation pulls in the energy of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction because it's so close to it. and that conjunction perfected on April 20th. But it's still quite close at this time. So the magic and optimism of this transit is being re-enlivened with this new moon and baked into the energetic for the next couple of weeks. This is an invitation to keep ongoing and to keep opening and bringing in the good parts of life, to keep working towards your personal and current version of success. Simultaneously, the new moon has a favorable aspect to Saturn, suggesting that there is the opportunity to manifest the ideas and opportunities that are presenting themselves. While proposed actions from the Jupiter-Uranus influence could seem outlandish or unrealistic at first, you could start to find step-by-step ways to bring your ideas into your everyday life. Sarah Beckner and I will be presenting our second broadcast astrology episode on this new moon, so stay tuned for a more in-depth look on what is in store for this upcoming lunar month, which begins with that new moon. Next, we're looking at the overall, we're still looking at Jupiter-Uranus. They already perfected their conjunction, like I said, on the 20th of last month. However, the planets are still coming through and reverberating the message from this alignment. The work is not yet completed with this combination of planets. First, the Sun, and then Venus, and then Mercury at the very end of the month will reach, by conjunction, Jupiter and Uranus. This begins in the middle of the month and is carried out intermittently throughout the month. These conjunctions are potentially really wonderful, or at least enlivening, because they're carrying through the optimistic and potentially revolutionary energy that the conjunction last month was focused on. Sometimes the results of the Jupiter-Uranus alignments aren't visible to the public eye for several months, if not years. For example, Apple was started in Steve Jobs' garage during a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. However, we're seeing the university protests taking place at this conjunction, and they match the spirit behind the Jupiter-Uranus archetype. These include sudden unexpected openings, awakenings, heightened revolutionary unfolding, the people coming alive through shared breakthroughs, as well as the potential of mania and overdoing things. I expect that we will see larger unfolding of these protests. They could be opening the door to something much larger in the long run. Personally, you could continue to participate in your own revolutionary movement, be that in either the material and/or spiritual form. A part of your being is ready to be liberated and set into motion in your life, and your life will not be the same in some way as you move forward. Experiencing the activation of Jupiter and Uranus in May should feel much more manageable than last month, as we are no longer under the intensity of the eclipses and Mercury is in forward motion. If anything, you should be able to be more focused on whatever breakthroughs and revolutionary movement you're experiencing. Here are the dates that we're looking at. The Sun will conjunct Uranus on May 13th. Venus will conjunct Uranus, and the Sun will conjunct Jupiter on May 18th. That day is very activated. Venus will conjunct Jupiter on May 23rd. And on May 30th, Mercury will conjunct Uranus, and it will reach Jupiter in Gemini in early June, which is a whole nother story. We'll get to that later on. So then we come to the Sagittarius full moon, as well as the Venus, Jupiter, Neptune alignment that's all happening on the same day. The Sagittarius full moon takes place on May 23rd at 2 degrees Sagittarius, 55 minutes. Similar to the Taurus new moon, this full moon is very optimistic, even romantic. Pluto is closely tied into the full moon with a supportive and flowing aspect, suggesting that there is empowerment available at this time. We could be gently invited to make changes to influence our greater good, possibly shed some skin that is no longer serving us. Perfecting on the same day, Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune are all at 29 degrees, which is known as the anaretic or the crisis degree. This alignment includes the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that is also sextile to Neptune. Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune together can be described as kind of the romantic Jesus complex, which can manifest as someone who has deep and unyielding compassion and love for others. So on the surface, it's pretty good. This can give the suggestion that people can be immersed in beauty, the beauty of the world, and can look at the world with rose-colored glasses. The downside is that this can bring up severe cases of martyrdom and sacrificial action, as well as behavior led by illusion and falsehood. In the collective, there could be a feeling that we need to sacrifice or subscribe to martyrdom in some way. There could be an urgency to this action. We could find movements throughout the world where people are putting their lives on the line or just making grand gestures for a cause that is greater than them. We could also find fanaticism of all kinds. This is a positive aspect. So we could also see beautiful gestures of kindness and love, which sounds amazing, as well as art that is otherworldly and that could provide a healing balm for others. Fairy tale weddings also come to mind with this alignment. So keep your eyes open for any Disney-esque wedding events around this time. Another side to this alignment is that we're reaching the end of Neptune's time in Pisces. It's been there since 2012, and it will begin entering Aries in March of 2025. There are many crossovers and compatibilities with this simultaneous Pluto and Capricorn and Neptune and Pisces placements that we've been experiencing. Neptune in Pisces has also been interested in healing our souls, reminding us that we're all connected to everything, awakening us to the truth that everything that we do has a resonance far beyond what we will ever be able to clearly perceive in this lifetime. The rise of psychedelics is strongly tied to Neptune and Pisces, as is the rise of meditation, hypnosis, psychic healing, yoga, and ceremony in general. Neptune and Pisces can also be pointed to for the rise in fake news and the predominance of conspiracy voices throughout the internet. This placement is also responsible for the confusion all around, and specifically around the topic of the idea that we are more divided than ever. And also the lines are so blurred that it can be disorienting to know who is on what side. Like being at the end of Pluto in Capricorn, we could be seeing the blessings and the issues around Neptune and Pisces being heightened around this time for the remainder of the next year or so. Next, we come to Jupiter in Gemini. On May 25th, Jupiter will make a decisive transition into Gemini. Jupiter spends about 1 year in each sign, and it just spent approximately a year in Taurus. So traditionally, Gemini is the detriment of Jupiter. But having this placement in my own chart, I actually really like it. Jupiter moving into Gemini is great for people with strong air placements in general, such as Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, as well as mutable placements, which is Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces. On the positive side, Jupiter in Gemini is very curious, loves to learn it all, and is able to hold several concepts and or perspectives at one time, and enjoys sharing information. The challenges can come by spreading interest too far and wide, issues around details, and moving on from something before it's completed. Jupiter wants to make grand strides, but has to do it via a menagerie of ideas or concepts, which can leave gasps in the wider vision. So not great. There can be gaps because there's so many details working in such a wide area. On the positive side, Jupiter will be in Gemini until June 9th, 2025, when it will enter Cancer. Most notably, Jupiter and Gemini will form a trine to Pluto on June 2nd, 2024. So that's coming up pretty quick. And a square to Saturn from around August 2024 to June 2025. And that'll kind of go in and out. The trine to Pluto is a powerful cosmic statement, suggesting great power, wealth, taking on large projects, and finding great success in grand endeavors. I will go into this more next month. However, this transit will be in orb as soon as Jupiter enters Gemini. The square to Saturn is quite interesting as well. Saturn and Pluto had their conjunction, their new moon moment in December 2020. So you can see changes in the path that you laid out for yourself at that time. Adjustments may need to be made in order to obtain long-term stability in your aims, and we'll also delve deeper into that later on. In closing, all in all, this month is very full of activation as well as reflection. The activity around Jupiter and Uranus could re-energize parts of our lives that are sleepy and or even numb, and could continue to inspire the exciting path that has been recently opening for us. And Jupiter moving into Gemini offers a new part of our life to find gifts and develop opportunity. However, both Pluto and Neptune are playing their drums and slowly waking up our memories like dreams to how each of them have changed our lives over the past decade or more. What has been woken up for you? When you reflect on the difference between our society before 2008 or 2012, around that time to now, what is the main change? Some good reflections. A lot has changed. As always, sending you all the love. Sincerely, me. Thank you. I will see you next